BDS might be looking to defend bottom floors, potentially. Maverick to defend those.
Northern site on Trophy and Statuary, but as we're on this one, they've actually presented a pretty good opportunity. A lot of teams are starting to employ this Ela and Jaeger combo, namely being Ela sits in a spot, which is exactly where you're seeing push now, inside a closet, for example. And if someone tries to go in there, well, you're jumping straight into the Grismot mines and you're getting yourself hurt by that. You can't nade the Ela out because she's surrounded by Jaeger ADSs. They're doing exactly the same thing here, but also providing a deployable shield facing in towards Study. The whole idea here is that no one can push RX from downstairs because of the Grismot mine. There's 2 ADSs set up, one there next to the little closet and one actually on the red wall towards Study itself. He is very, very safe here, and outside of being surprised or caught off guard, there is very little chance that he gets seated by G2.
Absolutely, and one of the big reasons for playing there is there's 2 major default plant spots on AVG, in behind the bar or in behind the safe door that we've just seen run past there. And in behind the bar, you have to take control of it generally by opening the reinforced walls in 90 corridor and in Study. You open one either side of the bar with the Hibanas, usually low down, give yourself a line of sight, and it forces defenders who are playing in behind that bar away from it and gives you the opportunity as attackers to move in. So by playing a defender at the top of those stairs in 90 corridor, you're preventing that push, you're preventing that freedom for Hibana to get in there and open up those holes. We've got Shaiko at the minute just holding hard in Study there. We can see Lems and Shaiko have both taken some damage themselves there. Uno was taken off the board a little earlier on in the round. So we're 5 versus 4, but G2 looking reasonably comfortable at the minute. They're in sight, they're holding their angles, they're not aggressing too much, but Shaiko is going to get a kill onto Fabian there. So that leaves us now 5 versus 3.
Yeah, they're doing the right thing here, though, in G2. They are pushing from the north side of the map to clear it out, make sure there are no roamers up there trying to give them havoc once they do start to set up to go for a push. But what you're seeing from BDS is they're biting back pretty aggressively. 2 down already. That makes this attack a lot less scary than it would have been, not least as well because the Buck has gone. It could have tried to do some damage inside a Study from below or even inside the sites themselves, but that's just not an option for G2 anymore. All they can really afford to do is just push directly into the site itself, and that is exactly what they're starting to do. They've got control of Study, getting that wall open up with the Hibana as you saw, but there are 2 or 3 members still hanging around inside Games Room right here, which makes this very, very tough to deal with. Look at that, 3 members hanging around inside of the vault right now. They've got full coverage of both sides between them, and there is very little that G2 can do. Now into a 5 versus 2. I don't really see how they managed to bring this one back, Tim.
Renshiro putting that Maestro cam to great use and getting himself a kill with it there. We can see Sabos is just aware of somebody there, but shots onto the barrel of the gun will not do a thing. In goes the flashbang, and there we go. Oh no, the down will come in from Sabos, but he doesn't finish that kill off. Shouldn't have a big impact on the round, but RX will get in with 1 for himself, and a second onto Kanto Raketti as BDS finish off round number 1. G2 never really feeling close on that attack.
Can we BDS are doing and adapt to it as the game plays out?
And that's not going to be an easy thing to do against a team. Then be in the right place, at least within touching distance of sight to assist his teammates.
In that last round, BDS didn't even have to roam though. They just sat quite merrily on site, and they even had 3 of them, like I say, playing inside the vault, just watching the drone hole, watching either site. And G2 just simply didn't win the gunfights when it came down to it. Every single one being won out by BDS, which is why we saw the flawless round come through. Now we're going to Trophy and Statuary on the top side of the map. This is actually becoming a less popular site now. A lot of teams, especially in North America, are opting to go downstairs instead and take over dining and also towards living and library. Now, in this case, they're going towards Trophy and Statuary. You can see them spread quite a lot here around the top side. More's trying to hold G2 out as they group around the north side of the map. All 5 members are currently lurking around this. What I expect to see is Fabian getting inside, though, and doing some work with that shotgun from downstairs. Although right now he's upstairs.
You've generally got 1 of 2 main pushers. Obviously, there is the option of clearing out any roamers and using the verticality from downstairs, but generally speaking, the push on the site will come from 1 of 2 locations. You'll either get in through Study and move through the previous site, which is Aviator Games. You'll take control of the south side of the map and then aggress onto site from there, using that as your beachhead. Alternatively, you get yourself into master bedroom at the north side of the map, which is now the bottom right of your screen as we look at it, and you look to breach that triple wall and get into site that way to get the diffuser down. Now Uno coming in with a great opening kill, but it will be traded straight out by Lems. Shaiko off the board, which could be important, but as you said, there's Shaiko and Lems playing as a great duo yesterday and continuing to do so today. So if Lems can pick those kills up where Shaiko leaves off, again, it's going to be a tough day for G2.
Uno swung a little bit wide there when looking inside of Astronomy, because that black box in the back corner is where a lot of defenders will play. It is solid, you can't shoot through it, so it's just a very safe place to play. I think he was expecting someone to be behind the desk instead, which is why he ignored it out after getting the one who was on stairs. Led to that trade that we've now seen come through with Shaiko and Uno both being down. That is the Capitale dead though a lot of utility with the asphyxiating bolts and the smoke bolts to go for executes on sites that they now don't have available to them. But down to 50 seconds, and Kanto's going to find himself a kill. The fragger for G2 wakes up and finds himself a second, with Rafal also going down. And now they're in more control than they were last round. You still got to worry about the fact that there is an Echo on the board, mind you, unless they can bring him down soon. That's, in fact, him being the last one left alive, as RX is also dropped by Sir Boss. And this means he's still got a lot of work to do. Going to find that.
Exactly what he did, and it looked casual for him, to be honest. He barely moved his feet, couple of easy kills, and that was exactly what
you said. And then Kanto was there as the cleanup crew to follow in and basically resolve the mess that was created by those first couple of frags. It was really positive to see, to be fair. And with how those first 2 rounds have played out, I think it's fair to say that both teams are here to play. It's not going to be an absolute landslide one way or the other.
No, I think we knew, if nothing else, we would have a game here. Both teams very, very capable of challenging each other, and that is what we've seen almost every time they play. We've had the odd 7-2, 7-3, but generally it does come down to the wire. We are 1-0 as we stand at the minute, heading into round number 3 of map 1. For anybody who's joined us, don't worry, you haven't missed very much at all. You've missed plenty of action in the first 2 rounds, but there is plenty more to come. We are here on Villa, and we will have at least one more map to follow, depending on the outcome.
Lots of drone work being done by G2 as well, something that we used to speak about quite a lot, to be fair, and maybe not so much at the moment, but taking pause in the middle of a round to reassess where things are going. You know, you can't just act on all the intel that you see in the drone phase. In fact, Stokes, I believe, was the one who once said to me, information is good for 5 seconds, and then it needs to be sought afresh immediately afterwards. And that's exactly what G2 are looking to do, making sure they can push in safe without losing members, because back in round 1, they did find themselves losing 1 or 2 very early on inside fights that probably didn't really need to be taken at that time. It was just BDS snapping back, G2 not having a response.
So we are downstairs in Dining Kitchen. We can see a number of BDS players just holding fast at the moment. We've got RX on the Mozzie upstairs, and I think he's joined by Shaiko. We've got Fabian looking to move in downstairs through the basement. He'll be trying to keep his approach quiet at the minute, but RX will open things up with the first kill onto Sir Boss. So once again, BDS put themselves into an advantageous position. We can see with the joy, the pleasure of our outlines there, the players obviously don't have that benefit. We can see Shaiko just holding those astronomy stairs. He knows somebody's there. Fabian gets himself a kill onto Renshiro. That could be a big one, but Shaiko will step up trading that with one onto Kanto. Fabian a second on the round, and things are starting to go slightly towards G2, I would have said, but Ilem's getting the kill onto Fabian, and he's the man that's been having the impact so far, and that just shows how quickly rounds can switch around in Siege. Pengu and Shaiko challenging each other head-to-head. Pengu will come out on top with a headshot onto Shaiko, but Ilems will step in. As we said, that duo once again working back-to-back, and Ilems getting in there and trading things out. That now leaves us in a 2 versus 1. 25 seconds left to go, and Uno has got a huge job on his hands. He's trying to retrieve the diffuser. He's dancing around. He's taking fights. He gets the kill onto Ilems. It is 1 versus 1 at this point. He uses the smoke grenade to give himself cover. He's looking to potentially get a plant down. He has to do something, being limited on time. He will be doing so. RX is seeking him at this moment, but the diffuser will go down successfully, and Uno wins the fight. Second, how hard it is when the momentum is switching back to barbed wire there.
Really 10 barbed wires being
so
brought?
that's it. For anybody who hasn't been watching, it might be your first day today. I know yesterday was a Friday, so you may well have been working or something, unable to watch. I'm sure you caught some of the action. But we've got a beautiful new UI. We can see Medics has just expanded it for us there very kindly. So it shows us all sorts of information about utility, reinforcements in hand. It's got kills, assists, deaths, and then that 4th number on the right-hand side is actually for objective play. So if they've had a plant, then it will class it in there. I think if you look over at Uno, you'll see that there'll be a plant number on there. Thank you, Medics. But yeah, it's been a fantastic tool for us. It shows whether the drones are in pocket, whether they're out active, whether they're destroyed. Be careful with the drone information. We have noticed 1 or 2 little bugs that are just being worked out at the minute, a few little kinks, but generally speaking, reasonably good information. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure for us as casters. It's really given us an opportunity to talk about a lot of things that we couldn't before, you know, that we were sort of guessing on a lot of the time.
I'm very curious to know about these 10 barbed wires, though, and how much impact they really think they're going to have. I mean, it's definitely going to slow G2 down, but that didn't really seem to be the issue back in round 1, because for BDS, they had 3 of them playing inside the vault between sites, so they were happily covering both of them, watching through a drone hole, for example. They had a bit of a slow start in terms of holding out at the south side of Study. It's exactly what you can see RX doing now. As I said, there is no deployable shield though, so it's just down to these barbed wires here, and the ADSs he's got surrounding him, as well as those Grismot mines, to keep the attackers at bay on the south side. Now, they did get control of it last time, and RX didn't die for his troubles. It was a flawless round for BDS. So G2 are the ones who need to adapt here and think of something different if they're going to be able to upset this setup that BDS has deployed to the field.
That's it. They can't necessarily just play into stud it as they might have done previously. They need to think about that 90 corridor and exactly how they're going to deal with it. We can see Pengu now on the IQ, just on the rappel there, looking to possibly get in through that 90 corridor window. He's just holding angles, seeing if he can get any information for his team locations. Anything at all will be helpful. Fabian heading underneath at this point. He's got the skeleton key. Let's not forget he's also going to be looking to throw some nades up there potentially, and he will clear out some utility, I think. But RX gets that first kill on to Kanto. So again, we've spoken about it already, Des. RX, top of red stayers. What can G2 do about him?
Well, by the looks of it, they're very enjoying playing as a group right now, because last round it was 3 in Vault. This time round it's 3 of them all playing together inside the games, trying to push up towards 90. I think anything else to ensure that when they go for the gunfights, if the first man does lose, they can at least get the second with the trade as a follow-up. And there is indeed an awful lot of barbed wire down. I imagine even G2 are like, what the hell is this we're playing into right now? I've never seen 10 barbed wire deployed before.
Fabian putting that skeleton key to great use and getting himself a nice vertical kill onto a Lems. Coming into the last 10 seconds, we are 4 versus 2 as a couple of quick kills go down. Shaiko with a double there onto Pengu and Uno, and that now leaves us 1 versus 4. Fabian with too much to do and not enough time. Diffusing on it. They don't have any external windows or doors. You have to play from inside.
Nothing to be shaking your head at going into the half.
It's certainly an interesting conversation to be had. We have seen more attacking rounds being won on Villa than ever before recently, and that goes hand in hand with this transition that we've seen to the offsites being a little bit more popular, as you've mentioned already. There's trophy statuary particularly dropping away from the general normal pick, and we're seeing living room, library and dining kitchen being used more frequently. We can see here by contrast a nice demonstration from G2. As I said last time around on this site, there are 2 ways to push it. You either take control from Aviator Games and work from the south side up, and then you basically create a beachhead where Uno is now, and then you push forward onto site from there, which is what they are doing in this case. Previously, they tried to attack through master bedroom and had a lot of success with it, so it would suggest to me that G2 particularly trying to keep BDS guessing here, not wanting them to get familiar with what they're doing, and so they're just trying things a little bit differently.
Uno once again leading in as the entry point, I guess, for his team. Not too sure how I feel about that given the operator that he's playing, because as we've already seen, that utility actually won them the downstairs site. Keeping that Capital alive for later in the round could be super useful. In this case, a little bit key maybe to push forward with him. The rest of the team pushing up from the south. Admittedly, when we've seen them attack on the upstairs site so far, when they have pushed from opposite ends of the map, things haven't gone so well, because it's given BDS the room to expand out a little bit, you know, flex their muscles and get a couple of kills on the go as well. The fact that we're 90 seconds in and no one's died yet for G2 probably does show that they're a bit more in control now. They are being a bit more cautious. I can't think of a moment from when Uno stopped at 2 minutes 8 seconds on the clock and got on his drone, but we haven't seen at least one of their players on a drone at any time.
Serious damage being done across the board here. Rafal on about 3 HP there, RX on 50 HP. We can see Fabian getting the plant down, and the smoke toss has actually been unsuccessful there. Fabian will get it down before the second Toxic Babe canister can come out, so at 5 versus 5, the diffuser is planted. Uno with the first kill onto LMs. That will be traded out with 2 in return from BDS, but they have got very limited time now to clear out the other members of G2. The remaining 3. We've got RX is on the diffuser. Are G2 going to do anything about it? It looks like, yes, there is some disruption. Uno comes in huge and gets 2. Kanto with a 3rd, and that leaves Renshiro with it all to do. He gets on to disabling the diffuser again. He's going to be challenged, but will it be in time? Yes, it will. Kanto time on that site. He came up through astronomy when their focus was elsewhere, and he got himself 2.
On the north side, or at least they've got some kind of utility there, some kind of camera to keep an eye on those things. And I was speaking to a couple of the coaches outside, to be fair, from other random assorted teams, and they're saying one thing they're trying to really drive a lot of players to do now is, if you're dead, you're not sat watching one of your players, you're sat watching every piece of utility you've got on the map, because you just don't know what you might spot coming through that one. I fully expect that the camera in astronomy may have been shot out, who knows, because they didn't take control of that earlier on. They pushed from the south. It's the small things in Siege that really make these rounds so ridiculously close.
It is, and you've got to remember the level these guys are playing at. You know, yeah, we talk about Legion's utility being able to offer information, but he's certainly not the only one. They had Ella on the board there, and you don't get a little marker on the map with Ella to tell you where the mine has been triggered, but there's only 3 of them. And at this level, players should be able to remember exactly where they were stationed. If an Ella mine had been on that staircase, maybe things are different. Elem's coming in with a big first Nitro kill onto Uno, so that puts BDS in a slight driving seat for this round. It puts them 5 versus 4. We're nearly halfway through the round. We're heading in that direction, and a second Nitro toss, this time from Renshiro. BDS showing a real penchant for the utility here. Sir Boss being downed along with it.
Well, surprised by was last time. Fabian actually shotgunned out the top of that triple wall, then backed away because the C4 followed in just after. But clearly that time weren't quite ready for the immediate C4 toss to come through. That's 2 C4 kills this round. They got it down onto Sir Boss, and they haven't even had to fire a single bullet yet. Really good show from BDS, given they've lost this site twice so far in this half of Villa.
Yeah, certainly a much stronger approach from them, and 2 early kills doing them huge favours. And, you know, adapting, doing things in a different way, getting players downstairs, using those nitros. We've got Kanto taking shots there. Sir Boss and Key are now stationed in master bedroom. Shaiko will finish Sir Boss off, so that leaves us now in a 5 versus 2, and Kanto will get 1 back for G2, but it could be impactless at this point. There is a big job to be done, 2 versus 4, but if there are 2 players in the world who can achieve it, surely Pengu and Kanto have to be able to make a good shout for that.
You'd hope there'd be the one of them as well. Pengu was trying to push up there, but with the wrong gadget out, really isn't going to achieve.
There's an evolution then of the attacks. Teams basically get fed up of losing the attacks, so they put extra work in to figuring that.
G2 is exactly like we saw from BDS earlier on. A lot of attention to the top of stairs. How on earth does Pengu let himself get picked up like that? Shaiko gets that opening kill, and Pengu will stay with another contribulous round. Hasn't really done too much in this game, and that round is is definitely not going to help much more. You can see the 2 Glow Shields lined up at the top of these stairs. Very similar idea as what we saw before. Just give yourself the ability to have someone playing behind them and making use of this utility to play safe. I like how they've also doubly assured that they can still stay behind the second deployable shield, because it's only the first one that's a Goyo shield right now. So in a panic, if someone's going to rush you, you can shoot that out, you can let them burn utility on that shield. It means that the one a bit further back is likely to be a bit safer, and Uno can sit behind it for a much longer amount of time. That's it of the upstairs, but Karjeka netted that kill and has bailed the hell out of there. He doesn't want to be involved anymore. And what on earth was that potato play from the 2 players? Karjeka tries his best with a shotgun.
Or he can, you know, make the choice to remain in place and continue to contest it. But it gives him that option at least, that sort of escape route, if you will. So flashbangs will be thrown up from downstairs. We've got the book down there opening things up, as we saw Fabian doing when it was his turn on the attack. RX is just looking to see what angles he can find. He's got some serious support down there as well from Renshiro and Shaiko. Very much using the vertical angles here on Villa, and there is plenty of opportunity to do so. But Uno, exactly what G2 need at this point. Uno is really starting to pop off, heads downstairs and gets that kill onto Shaiko. There's a little bit of a backwards and forwards duel going on between these 2.
There's a lot of opening kills trading back and forth between Uno and Alems especially, and so far Alems is 2-1 in those opening kill duels, but still at the end of the world, I don't think. You saw a lot of those Habana pellets getting sprayed out there from the side of the wall, so it's not quite going to have the impact that BDS would have wanted. And we're once again seeing a very similar setup to what we saw when BDS were on the defense. It's a lot of stalling by G2, a lot of time wasting. So BDS are still in a spot where even now they can't assault up these stairs and get rid of either the deployable shields, because they're just constant swaths of utility and bullets and G2 members standing in their way.
Interesting again there, the Ella mine being put to good use. As I suggested, it may well have saved the round for BDS when they were flanked on Astronomy stairs by Uno, and this time it does on the red stairs. We have a kill coming in for Fabian, Uno, Kanto, and that will finish there as well. Obviously, it wasn't so much a criticism, but I pointed out that, you know, his rating so far through the map is quite low, and he needs to try.
You put Grizzbot mines just outside either window. If they jump in there, they're going to get shotgunned to death by Fabian. If they try and nail it to death, well, they're losing all their utility to a couple of the ADSs from Jaeger. And it just stops you taking control of bedroom. You can't take control of closet. So this whole east side of the map becomes very, very difficult to assault. Your best attempt really is to go for a Capital, like you can see LM's lining up for now, and to firebolt it out once you've burnt out those ADSs.
Fabian choosing to take the peak there, and I think, you know, You're obviously disappointed, Des. I think you're probably right there. A little bit too much aggression from Fabian. He just needs to hold his position in that closet. Yes, he's going to be challenged, but he's going to burn an awful lot of utility, and he could have burnt a lot more than 45 seconds in being in there. As it is, he's stepped out and he's allowed himself to get killed. Big run out coming out from Uno there, but Alems will get the kill, and unfortunately for Uno, he doesn't even manage to finish Rafal on the Hibana, so things not looking great for G2 here on this defensive round. They will lose Sir Boss to Shaiko. Pengu will fight back, but only briefly, as Shaiko gets himself a second. Kanto takes one onto Alems, and that leaves us now in a 3 versus 1 after that flurry of kills. 1 versus 2 now as Kanto gets one for himself.
Way to an absolute T. They are changing things, but it looks like they're almost trying to bait them.
Exactly what the attackers are doing.
It's a little more fragile than a mirror window, but at least around it helps. A walking mirror window is a pretty fair comparison, if not got a few cracks in the window in this case. Now, Uno ran off downstairs at the very start of this defensive half, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the roam here, trying to cause a bit of chaos and be a thorn in the side of BDS as they try and stage an attack. It is interesting to see that G2 have got 2 very different strategies they're employing to defend this site, rather than one where they held down bedroom as well. This time around, for the most part, it seems like they've abandoned it, as you would come to expect. This is the more the standard way you play Villa. You basically hold the A site and then watch that triple wall and try and prevent them from running in from the bedroom door. Otherwise, it's a lot of focus around the north side, or as we saw from G2, you can alternate and push entirely from the south. So both sides trying out a couple of different things here, mixing the flavors in to see what really works best for them.
And it's no surprise with 4-all, there is no team that is running away with this, so they're not going to be confident of just thinking, right, we can do this one thing and we can just do it again and again and again and win. They know that they need to change things up. They know that they're both playing against teams that are happy to adapt and happy to change things on the defense, and they won't get away with just doing the same thing. We can see Clash now in Astronomy going to take damage from those asphyxiation bolts, but Fabian's footwork is good. Like a ballet dancer, manages to just move himself away from the damaging flames there. Will keep his back to the wall, and this is a really important point of successful Clash plays, is being aware of your back and how angles are onto you. Kanto will clear Renshiro out, and he'll get a second onto Alems. Kanto, the perfect player to hold this A-site location. His aim and aggression is such that he will take kills into master bedroom all day long. He is going to be very, very difficult to root out of there.
Be very curious to see if he chooses to try and flank into the bedroom at some point when their backs maybe turn, but here comes a flank potentially onto Kanto if he's not careful. Might find himself short-changed, but no! He wins that gunfight every day of the week. A triple kill in this round. Rafal finally shuts that one down, but it's still a 3 versus 2 for G2 here as we go into the final 40 seconds of the round and still trying to find their way in towards the site. Got to appreciate again just how much time Fabian is wasting on this Clash. They can't push through bathroom, they can't push out of bedroom because you've got the other side being watched by Kanto. They're basically being penned in here like a herd of sheep, locked in place, unable to move, and Pengu goes, you shall move no further.
And you're down. So it's very, very difficult to play with the edges of our seat. Which of these teams will progress to the playoffs is anybody's guess at this moment in time. Remember, whoever wins here will go straight through to Tuesday and Wednesday's playoffs.
You know, I've been keeping account of how many times you've been said you're on the edge of your seat. Yeah, to break the 4th wall, we've been stood up the whole time.
I'm surprised I haven't fallen over with the volume of excitement we've been under.
Oh, here we go. Always a theatrical one, aren't you? But here we go. Let's see what they can do from below. Then RX trying his best with the grenade from below. Again, with no Jaeger on side, those frag grenades could be more important than he ever knows. Would like to see him hold on to them a bit longer, but he's going to try and see if he can catch someone here. I don't think he will because it's going towards completely the wrong spot. And that will be the end of the grenades coming out of the Buck. Otherwise, there are still things like the Capital bolts. There's the Ash charges coming through as well. There's options here, but I think G2 have got away here with a nice, easy pass for not bringing a Jaeger with them.
We've got Uno and Pengu just playing at the top of red stairs there, a position that we've seen so important. We can see 3 BDS players in and around the bottom there. Shaco, Ren, Shiro and RX, I believe it is, all looking to challenge onto those red stairs as best they can. They know they have to clear them out, but they're not quite sure what the answer is. Out go the flashbangs, and it will be a full white flash, but it looks like G2 have just dropped back into the 90 corridor, and they will live to continue to fight. We can see a Goyo shield there has just been destroyed, and that is a perfect example of the use use of those Goyos. They know that they're being pushed, they know they're being hassled, so they just shoot that out as they're dropping back, and that is 10 seconds breathing space that they can just let that pressure die down for.
More time being wasted though, as yet another one goes off, yet another one goes off, just constant Goyo shields being popped off here. Now for BDS, they've got to a stage where others may not have before, where back in the first half, G2 barely managed to get control of the south side. They had Study in a couple of instances, but they couldn't make it any further than where they are now. But very crucially, Alems is the one who wins this gunfight onto Boss to open up the killings in this round. There's been a lot of utility thrown out by G2 so far. A couple of C4s have flown, but no one's found any big kills by the looks of it. Once he managed to creep inside sight here as well, Shai goes inside, gets the headshot on towards Pengu. They now have control of the site. This is massive for them. They managed to crawl up 90 and get control. How Kanto let anyone get past him, I don't know. Not that it matters, as he's now down and done. Shaiko finds one onto Uno as well, and this looks like it's going to go the way of BDS. We will finally see a team win on this southern site.
That is exactly the push that I was talking about, where they've opened that hole up in the wall.
I feel like it's consistent and they're starting to figure things out. BDS just crack that egg open and say, we've got it, guys. Reinforce a number of walls facing down towards the side of the south of the map, and got themselves a couple of deployable shields set up, where they've then also got the Ella playing behind them. So actually what they're choosing to do is go for a very extended hold down south and essentially try and force BDS to take a big fight off site, or ignore it entirely and push more towards the northeast, which seems to be their chosen method as of now.
So BDS are going to be looking to get some top floor control above that site. If you're going in towards dining and kitchen, the area that you're going to be looking for is master bedroom, bathroom and astronomy. That's the area of the map upstairs that is located directly above site. So if they can get RX in there with that booked skeleton key, he will start ripping the floorboards up, and we'll see what angles they can get down into site. If they can manage at the same time simultaneously to get somebody in underneath in a position to hold lines of sight into sight, then they will potentially get those defenders as they start being forced to move around. But it doesn't look like that's something BDS are doing at the moment. They're just pushing the top floor, and once they're happy that they've got the possession of the map that they need, they'll start ripping up that floor, see if they can get 1 or 2 vertical kills before aggressing onto site horizontally.
You see once again though, 90 seconds in, everything is slowed way down because G2 are just very happy holding firm behind these deployable shields. It's probably one of those times where I've seen a lot of deployable shields, and then some of the sites, Goyo being brought a lot as well, being used very effectively to basically stall the round out for a good minute or two. Very interesting to see how a map like Villa, where there's a lot of soft flooring, those things are still being very, very effective and not being easily destroyed from above. Now BDS has done the right thing here. They said, let's take control of the top floor, open up the flooring, and basically force G2 off the site. So it then becomes a game of retake for G2. You can see 2 members from BDS lurking near the outskirts. Shaker on the astronomy stairs is waiting, because they know that as soon as members of G2 are forced to run off site, they're going to run into the sight lines of these 2 waiting BDS members. So it's a good plan, but as it stands, G2 are very saying, well, you know what, we don't want to leave site. We actually quite like it in the kitchen here. There's food there. We feel comfortable. There are places we don't need to move very far. And that exactly is what is happening so far. And BDS are now a bit of a stalemate. They can't catch anyone. So what do they do next? That's where you're going to find out what happens in the next 30 seconds or so.
This was exactly my point about having players in position when that vertical pressure comes in. Shaiko, just unaware of his surroundings there, will step round, and who else but Uno getting that kill onto him again. At least the 3rd or 4th kill for Uno onto Shaiko, really shutting his game down today. Renshiro will get one onto Sir Bosto, and that leaves us now squared away in a 3 versus 3. But with only 10 seconds to go here, G2 are looking pretty good here. They can just hold their angles on site. BDS are going to have to rush in just like that. RX pushes through and loses his life. Uno gets 1, 2.
The team hasn't got to worry about all the other frills to do with defending or attacking, and he has in this case, or worse, an already won map as the result of the mental damage that losing around like that could have done. So G2 again, their map pick. BDS have actually put up a very good fight, and I gotta say, all those bans that we saw for the last year or so from BDS, not around for a year, but let's say the last 6 months or so, they've continually banned Villa, and now it feels like they've finally got to a comfortable stage where they show they can play it against a team like G2 who are very comfy on this map. I'd say BDS have definitely made a claim to say that this map is now in their back pocket and they can start using it in their games going forwards.
I'm absolutely certain teams are not going to be in any sort of rush to get onto Villa with BDS. You know, they are very, very capable wherever they play. And like you say, it was a bit of an unknown factor, really, was BDS on Villa, but they've come out and they've shown that they've obviously been putting some work into it, and they're very, very capable on here. So it's all going to come down to this next round. Does it go immediately in favour of G2, or will we see BDS take the win?
Shaker being downstairs here could be the big upset for them, but equally he's being No one plays in the
They're
basement.
downstairs.
Unless you're roaming on a roamer, you never play downstairs, and that's exactly what Uno is doing here right now. Maybe trying to cause some trouble, but Shaco's like, I'm going to piece the hell out of here. I'm not hanging around anymore. Because last time round, let's not forget what happened. We had Kanto holding inside an A site, watching in towards Master Bedroom. He's doing that from afar right now with a longer angle through. You've got the clash of Fabian holding inside of Astronomy. They were pinned in towards Master Bedroom and Toilet, and they couldn't do anything around it. They were just locked in this area of the map, unable to progress in towards the sites itself. So they've got to break this apart. The problem is now Shaco's moved on to the upstairs as well. He's in a similar spot to last round, where he's now got to try and break Fabian out of here with his team, and we are already 1 minute and 45 seconds into this round, and it feels like very little progress has actually been made.
BDS have just very recently opened up the lines of sight. We can see there through into the trophy room, sorry, the statuary room. So that's going to give them line of sight from Master, and that's just forced a couple of G2 players away. Pengu with one onto Alems, Kanto gets one onto Renshiro, but traded straight back out. An absolute flurry of kills coming here. They're going either way. We are 1 versus 2. We are 1 versus 1. Pengu on a triple. Can it be a 4K for